All right. Hi, YouTube. Hi, everyone. I am excited. This is my first live, so please bear with me. I hope that you all can see me clearly and or hear me well, hear me good. So if you are dropping in, please just let me know if you can see me clearly as well as if you can hear me clearly. So I'm excited because today is going to be our first day talking about stress. We're talking about stress today. And I feel like we use that word so often. We'll say, I'm stressed out, or this is stressing me out. But sometimes we're not really understanding how major stress is. Stress, it can be very normal. Like if something is coming up that we have to prepare for or something new or different, stress is a normal part of the process, of the human process of getting ourselves ready, getting ourselves prepared. But there's also times where stress will go on for way too long. And now that is affecting us in ways that we may or may not realize. It can affect our mental health, it can affect our emotional health, and it also can affect our physical health. And stress can even get to a place where it's making us have headaches. We're having stomach issues, whether that's like constipation, diarrhea, upset stomach. It can also cause our blood pressure to go up, so we could have high blood pressure or hypertension. It can cause our immune systems to not work as well as it's supposed to. So we're noticing that we're getting sick a lot more often. So those are just a few of the physical things that could happen as a result of us not getting our stress under control. So I just thought it was important. I know I have Welljo Wednesdays on my channel where I'm having some conversations about health and wellness related topics, but they're a little more like educational and a little more formal. So in my like for these stress-free lives that I plan to have every Wellness Wednesday in February, I want to make the environment a little more like laid back, a little more chill and live, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Because again, stress, especially for women, especially Black women or women of color, it's really important that we identify the things that are stressing us out, but also make a personal decision, a personal choice to say, I'm not going to let this stress get to me where now it's causing physical health problems. So, like I said, headaches or muscle tension is another one, fatigue, feeling tired all the time, irritability or agitation, anxiety, you know? So, like I said, stress, it really can do a lot of damage. And one of the reasons why I felt compelled to talk about this is because, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't officially introduce myself. So I'm Coach Ty for everyone that's not familiar with me. I'm Coach Ty and I am a wellness coach. I'm also a registered nurse by profession. And as I move into this space in my life where I'm doing a lot more wellness content or wellness inspiration, I am really focusing on the things that I feel are affecting women the most. Okay, I am the founder of the Health and Wellness Company, which is a healing brand that is available to women to really get a handle on our really mental, emotional, and physical health challenges. And my goal is to provide information, provide education, provide encouragement about specific health and wellness related topics using my nursing background, but also bringing in the mental and the emotional space that is required to really allow women to feel vulnerable enough to share what they're dealing with and what's going on. So I started my business, the health and wellness company, because again, as a nurse working in a hospital, I saw that there was a lot of disconnect between a patient or a woman because I did work in OBGYN. So I saw a major disconnect between women coming into the office and receiving the education they needed and even understanding what was being said to them. Because sometimes when we go into a doctor's office, when we go to a hospital, it's a lot of nerves, right? Like I don't know anyone that says, "Oh, I can't wait to go to the hospital." Even if it's for a checkup, sometimes it just can make us nervous and it can make us uncomfortable. So by the time the provider comes in, whether it's the doctor or the nurse practitioner, and wants to talk to us about what we have going on, we're not even in a mental space to really receive that information. And it may be where we don't even really understand what they're saying. They're saying a lot of big words that we don't get. And we just feel like, I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I don't feel well or I'm worried. Now I'm overwhelmed. And this provider, I don't even understand nothing they said. So that was the goal. That is the goal of my platform, whether it's in my business or even on YouTube, is to make our conversations or make the conversations about our health and wellness a lot more understandable. Okay, so please feel free to reach out if you would like to speak with me in detail. I help women to heal, I help them to build healthy habits, and I also create safe spaces where women feel like they are being listened to and acknowledged without any judgment, without any shame, in a way that they can understand. Okay. So it's nice to meet any of you who are new to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. So, yes, I want to talk about stress a little bit because, like I said, stress, we have become so accustomed to just like the word that I feel sometimes we can forget just how major it is, just how important it is for us to understand what's stressing us out and what are our options. Because sometimes we have become so accustomed to being stressed about life, even from our upbringing or childhood, that we feel like that's just a way of life. Like I'm supposed to, I mean, this is the way I've always lived, so this must be how I'm supposed to live. I've always felt on edge. I've always felt overwhelmed. I've always felt anxious. I've always felt extremely like irritated or agitated. So that's just my life and I'll get used to that. But no, we don't have to live like that. And of course, it's important for us to really give ourselves the opportunity to assess and think about our lives, both present and in the past, and not from a place of like judgment or shame or like being angry at what we've been through. If those are the emotions that come up, we should, acknowledge them. But a lot of times I feel as women, we need to really take a step back from ourselves and look at our life, whether it's currently or our upbringing, and really think about our journey. Okay. Think about what we've been through. And I know that sometimes that can bring up a lot of like hurtful feelings, a lot of painful feelings. It could have been trauma, it could have been abuse, it could have been a neglect. So sometimes when we're bringing up or thinking about those things, it hurts and we don't want to think about it. But if we desire healing, if we desire wellness, if we want to be our best selves and position ourselves to be able to achieve our goals and be an example to those that are coming behind us, whether it's our children, our nieces, our nephews, uh, like people in the community, kids in the community that we have a relationship with. It's important for us to set the example by facilitating a space that is open to reflection. When we just keep trying to like push things down and suppress things and forget about things, we're not dealing with the things. You know what I mean? So like it doesn't feel good or easy sometimes to explore what we've been through but it's necessary. It's necessary for our healing, it's necessary for our wellness, our health, because a lot of times when we suppress things or when we're allowing things to stress us out, it's given or our body is going to give off signals that something is wrong. So again, it's easy for us, or we think it's easy to just ignore it, like, oh, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to just deal with it. And we think that we're like avoiding it, but we're not. Because if it happened to us and if it's something that affected us, it's going to come up one way or another. It can come out up in our health, it can come up in our relationships, okay, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships. It can come up in our day to day activities. Like, are we on edge a lot? Are we just treating people not that nice because we just want to let off some steam? Do we feel good when we, have an argument or disagreement because we feel like that's letting off some steam? Like, so again, when I talk about stress, I mean, my goal is to keep this conversation going because if we're not being honest about what stress is doing to us, it's really not, we're not setting ourselves up for a future where we are our best selves. And the reality is, all of us have things that stress us out. All of us have situations, whether it's current situations or things that have happened in the past, that have rattled us, that has shaken us up and made us really uncomfortable. So that's just the reality of being a person. But we have to identify when it's getting to be too much, even for us. And one thing I like to always emphasize or start out with is talking about how stress is a normal part of our makeup. Okay. When it comes to our body and our brain, stress is normal because what stress is really, and again, I know we've used that term stress, like, oh, I'm so stressed out. This is stressing me out. I've been stressed out. But when we just look at the word stress, stress is a physiological or physical response that we have to something new or different. So I know when we use the word stress, it's always like it may be things that are very intense, but stress comes up if we are maybe in traffic, sitting in traffic for too long, or we're at work and something occurs at work, or even if it's something not negative, something like we're up for a promotion or we have our yearly evaluation. If you're in school, or if you're like, in some sort of program where you're being tested, or and you have a test or evaluation coming up, stress is a part of the the response our body gives off to something new or different or something it can perceive as a threat. And then that's when we get the feeling of maybe our heart rate is going up, maybe we feel a little on edge, maybe our focus is even sharpened on that particular thing because our body is acknowledging, okay, something new or something out of your norm is coming up, and now I got to get ready. And in future lives, I'll definitely be elaborating more on that stress response and what that hormone is called that is activated in our bodies, as well as what our bodies, like what it's preparing for, like when it feels that stress, what's actually happening. I'll talk a little more about that. But I just wanted to start this month off, Black History Month, actually, talking about stress in a very casual way so that we are really thinking about what that word means. Even if we may be using it just extremely often, we need to know what it's really meaning when we are dealing with stress. But also, even us saying it verbally a lot, if we're saying it, we are absorbing it. So sometimes it's even what we say that is really determining what we're experiencing. So we just have to be mindful of how we speak to things, what words we use. And like I said, for me, stress is very important because it's very important to talk about because I've seen how stress can really damage somebody mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And when your body and your brain is accustomed to being at that high level of stress on a regular basis, it definitely is not a good thing. And we, I think, just have to get serious about what we can do to alleviate stress and also identify what it is or who it is that could be causing us stress. Okay. So please feel free to leave me a comment. I know this was just the start of this conversation, but I really am passionate about having these conversations, creating again safe spaces to talk about these things openly and without judgment, because a lot of times we will deal with things silently and privately because we don't want to show that we're going through something or that something is bothering us. But that's not how we get healing. We get healing when we confront and we are aware of what it is that's weighing on us, when we're sharing it in safe environments where we know we're not being met with any judgment or any shame, and also when we really get serious and intentional about those healthy practices, those things we can do to become more healthy, and understand that this life thing is a journey and none of us, we're all trying to figure it out. But there are definitely resources out there, such as myself, that want to help and have more conversations, especially when we talk about stress in the Black community. So I plan on having plenty more conversations about this. So please feel free to leave me a comment or reach out. I have a lot of good stuff in my bio, a lot of links. I have a free gift if you would like to check that out. I have so many things that I'm planning and I'm working on, and I'm so excited. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be talking to you soon.